By the way, I was up late last night reading your book, which I enjoyed. I learned a lot. It occurred to me that I really didn't learn anything in school after reading this book.
You know, they don't teach history in school anymore, and it's a shame. That's one of the reasons I started writing these books, because they're history books, but they're fun to read.
Yes.
And that's a key to, because I used to be a high school teacher. I taught history. And you figured out if you made it personal and if you told stories that were dramatic, kind of like the Bachelor story, you got everybody involved. You know, they would pay attention. But they don't do that. So I decided to write these history books in that way, and they've been huge sellers, all of them.
One of the things that I have to say knocked me out, and I went crazy telling everyone within earshot, is that Hitler had a condition, I don't know if it's a disease or a condition, called meteorism.
Right.
And what is that?
Flatulence.
Yes, Hitler.
Hitler.
As if we didn't have enough reasons to dislike this guy, was constantly letting gas.
Well, he had every condition in the world. Evil feeds upon itself, and, you know, he was such an evil person that he just, like, consumed from within. But can you imagine in the bunker with Adolf? Can you imagine how that was? Because there were no windows to open. You know, you go out, you get a fresh air, you get a bullet in the head. So it's either Hitler or the bullet.
Maybe that's why he grew the mustache as, like, a filter, kind of self-defense of some kind.
Okay. Never thought of that, but that's possible.
Hitler, also, unbeknownst to me, and everybody told me after I told him I learned this from your book, was addicted to cocaine and methamphetamines.
Yeah. He couldn't get up in the morning unless he had cocaine eye drops. He had this doctor who would just follow him around all day with drugs, but they had to put eye drops in when he was lying in bed for him to actually get up. This is at the end of World War II. In the last 5 months, that's what the book deals with. And then to just function during the day, he got shots of methamphetamine because, as I said, evil feeds upon itself, and he was just destructing. His whole body was falling apart because he was just such an awful human being.
That's what they say. But I never met the guy.
You don't want to be too judgmental, right?
Well, you know.
It's an L.A. thing. In L.A., you know, maybe we can get a production deal.
Boy, the way Stalin wasn't much better.
Oh.
He was pretty awful. I mean, this guy, were you surprised by anything you learned about him?
Yes, oh yeah, because, you know, my researcher, Martin Dugard, he feeds me this stuff, and I'm going, whoa. The reason we don't know that much about Stalin is because there were no reporters there for him. He'd execute anybody. Whereas the Allies got into Germany fast, and then they figured out what was going on. It was a bevy of American reporters and British reporters. Didn't happen on the Russian side.
Yeah.
So Stalin killed just as many people as Hitler, but we never knew about it. But he was the same guy, you know, the same awful, disgusting people.
You mentioned reporters, but of course Stalin was our ally in that war. You mentioned reporters. I thought it was very interesting that when Patton was in the hospital, reporters were trying all sorts of things to get into the hospital. They were dressing as patients. They were disguising themselves. They were doing all sorts of things, which we now, I think of as something that goes on today. But it was surprising to me to learn that that was happening in those days.
Well, Patton had Stalin's number one, and that caused a lot of controversy, and some believe, including me, it led to his death. Stalin was telling FDR and then Truman after FDR died, look, this isn't your friend over here. He's going to cause a lot of trouble, Stalin, the communists. We need to fight them after we get rid of old Adolf. And that was real controversial. So then when Patton got hurt in the accident, inexplicable, and he's lying paralyzed in the hospital, as Jim said, reporters were swarming around because here's America's biggest hero in Europe, and nobody knows what the hell happened to him. Because they were keeping everything quiet, so they're trying to sneak in the room, and they're trying to bribe his wife was there and all of that. So it did foreshadow what we have today with the paparazzi running wild.
It's not like you're painting Patton to be this hero through and through. I mean, there are a lot of very unsavory aspects.
He hated everybody. That was number one.
Yeah.
But he was on the side of good. So, and he did enormously successful things in World War II. He saved tens of thousands of lives because he was so daring and audacious. While a lot of the other generals would pull back and they were looking out for themselves, Patton was on the front lines. His soldiers loved him. But he would say, you got to attack, attack, attack. If we're going to take the casualties, we'll take them. All right? But they still liked him because he was an active general. He was up. He wasn't a coward.
You've written books about killing Kennedy, killing Lincoln, killing Jesus, killing Patton. Have you thought about, I'm sure you have an idea of
I have to deliver 3 more books.
3 more.
We know what we're going to do.
You do?
Yeah, but I can't announce it until
Gotcha.
Because if I say it, then somebody else will try to write a
Can
book.
I make a suggestion?
Absolutely, sure.
I believe this will be the biggest seller of them all ×3.
Got it.
Killing Harry Potter.
Okay. Isn't he a fictional character?
Whatever, it doesn't matter. You put the words Harry and Potter on the book, you sell them like crazy.
True.
Bill O'Reilly is here. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm Jimmy Kimmel. Are you sad that the video is over? Well, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you will never be sad again, ever.